Welcome. Um, I am so glad you could join us for today's deep dive because our mission today is a really intriguing one. We are exploring the inner workings of the Flemish secondary education inspection system based on a pretty massive stack of comprehensive strategic analysis documents.
Yeah, it's a truly compelling topic. I mean, the educational inspectorate over there has fundamentally shifted in recent years. They have evolved from a strict rule-enforcing body into more of a stimulating partner.
Right, exactly.
Their entire goal now is to push schools toward continuous quality development rather than, just acting like a police force.
Okay, let's unpack this. The foundation of this whole system is something called the ROK, or the Reference Framework for Educational Quality. How does a framework actually measure something as complex as a school's overall quality without just, I don't know, staring at a spreadsheet of test scores?
Well, it breaks quality down into four distinct pillars. So you have results and effects, development of the learner quality development, and policy.
Which makes it super holistic, right? Because it goes way beyond measuring student grades.
Absolutely. The inspection actually goes out of its way to actively evaluate staff well-being and working conditions, too.
Right, and I found that particular detail really surprising in our sources. They actively monitor and cap teacher workloads to protect their personal lives.
Yes, the boundaries are very strict. Even though a full-time teacher in the final years of high school might only be teaching actual classes for, say, 20 to 21 hours a week.
Their absolute maximum workload is strictly capped.
Exactly, at 26 clock hours per week. That hard limit has to include all their meetings, parent contacts, and hallway supervision.
It makes a lot of sense. You really cannot have a high-functioning school without healthy, supported teachers.
Right, it reflects a very modern understanding of organizational health. You have to take care of the educators to take care of the learners.
Here's where it gets really interesting. They recently rolled out a new model called Inspection 2.0.
Gone are the days of the massive one-size-fits-all audits that treat every single school exactly the same.
Right. Under Inspection 2.0, the approach is entirely customized. They use an objective tool called the Data Wiser.
Which essentially translates to a data guide or compass.
Exactly. And this tool helps inspectors choose one of 5 specific scenarios to focus their investigation on what a specific school actually needs.
Precisely. So if the data compass shows a school is struggling with, say, early dropouts, the inspection scenario would focus heavily on student retention and counseling rather than wasting time on a generic policy review.
It makes the inspection incredibly targeted. And the boots-on-the-ground reality of these visits is pretty unique, too. A typical visit lasts 4 days, and while it includes your standard class visits and document studies, they also do these incredible process walks.
Those walks are fascinating. Instead of sitting in a conference room checking boxes, the inspectors simply walk around to observe how a school's vision manifests organically.
They might watch how students and teachers interact in the hallways.
Or see if a stated commitment to collaborative learning is actually happening in the library. They just watch the daily life of the school unfold.
So if inspectors are doing these process walks and looking at the holistic picture, what happens when a school falls short? What are the real-world consequences?
The inspection formulates an advice system for the government. It varies from a flawless 1A rating, which is entirely favorable, down to a 2A.
A 2A rating is an unfavorable verdict, with a suspension giving the school 3 years to fix their issues with the mandatory help of external guides.
Right. And then there is the exceptionally rare 2B rating, which means actually shutting the school down.
Usually an audit with stakes that high means a week of pure panic, with everyone pretending to be perfect just for the state inspectors. But the official strategy here explicitly urges schools to avoid window dressing.
Yes, to support that, schools are told not to put on a performance. Instead, they are urged to treat the Regional Pedagogical Counseling Service, which is basically a government-provided support team, as a critical friend leading up to the visit.
So the focus is purely on daily quality care. The best preparation is literally just doing your job well every single day.
Yep.
So what does this all mean? For you listening, seeing a massive government-level evaluation system successfully shift from a culture of punishment to a culture of growth is a brilliant lesson. It's a blueprint for any industry or personal project you might be managing.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it proves that true quality is always for the learners, the end users, and never just for the inspectors. The data serves the people, not the other way around.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to end on today. If an educational inspection framework can successfully measure and prioritize student well-being, staff, work-life balance, and a positive daily climate over raw data output,
Could we apply this exact same framework to entirely reform toxic corporate performance reviews?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.